Good day to each and everyone. My name is Eliza B. Texon from BSN English 1A. So, our topic for this day is about Asian art. So, we will discuss further about Asian art together with my co-discussant, Roger Custodio and Hazel Ann Romero. So, let us first define what is Asian art. So, Asian art is the traditional and contemporary art from the countries in the Asia known for its rich and cultural diversity and use of the unique styles and materials like ink, paintings, sculpture, and textiles and ceramics. Asian art is a broad and diverse category of a visual art that originates from the vast continent of the Asia, encompassing regions such as the East Asia. It includes the China, Japan, and Korea, while the South Asia, such as the India, Pakistan, and Nepal, the Southeast Asia like Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia, and the Central Asia. This form of the art spans thousands of years and includes a wide range of artistic traditions, styles, and medium, and each shaped by unique cultural religions and historical context of the region. In East Asia, Chinese art is known for its calligraphy, ink, painting, porcelain, and landscape art, often influenced by the Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. Japanese art includes the woodblock prints, samurai armor, and the Zen influenced ink drawing, while in Korean art is known for celadon pottery, Buddhist sculpture, and decorative painting. In South Asia, Indian art features ancient temple carving, miniature paintings, intricate textile, and symbolic religious imagery, shaped by the Hinduism, Buddhism, and the Islam. Southeast Asia art includes the elaborate temple architecture, such as the Angkor Wat in Cambodia, and traditional crafts like batik and shadow puppetry. Asian art is not only beautiful but also deeply symbolic, often focusing on themes like nature, spirituality, harmony, and the human connection to the universe. It continues to influence global art and design and remains an important part of the cultural identity and heritage across the Asia. So now let's talk about the Fukuoka Art Museum. The Fukuoka Art Museum is a prominent cultural institution located in the heart of Fukuoka, Japan, within the scenic Ohari Park established in November 1979. It served as a hub for art appreciation and cultural exchange, reflecting the city's rich history as a gateway to Asia. The meaning of the Fukuoka Museum refers to a museum located in Fukuoka, Japan. It dedicated to preserving, exhibiting, and educating the public about the various forms of art, history, or culture. Specifically, Fukuoka Art Museum. The means Fukuoka, meaning the name of the city where the museum is located, and Shi, or the meaning is city, Bijutsukan, or art museum or art gallery. So, Fukuoka Shi Bijutsukan translated to Fukuoka City Art Museum, which reflects its purpose as an institution for the visual arts in Fukuoka. So now let's moving on to the aerial view of the Mohenjo-Daro. An aerial view of the Mohenjo-Daro is one of the most significant cities of the ancient Indus Valley civilization. It reveals its advanced urban planning with great patterned streets and a well-organized layout. The citadel, located on a raised mount, contains important public buildings such as the Great Bath and the Granary, while the residential areas feature standardized houses with private wells and advanced drainage system. The city streets were equipped with covered drains, showcasing an early understanding of sanitation and salt and cruise stations around the site. It highlights the region's dry, arid climate. This layout and infrastructure reflect the sophisticated knowledge of the people of Mohenjo-daro in the city, and design, public health, and environmental management. So now let's talk about the frieze of the Mohenjo-daro. The frisking of the Mohenjo-daro, it refers to a famous sculpture discovered at the site, which depicts a figure believed to be a high-ranking individual, possibly a priest or a ruler. The statue is carved from cetite and shadows a man wearing a headpiece and a beard and intricately designed drops. He is often referred to as the priest king because of his regal appearance and the detailed craftsmanship, which suggests a person of authority or religious significance. However, it is important to note that the exact role or title of this figure remains uncertain. The Indus Valley Civilization, which includes Mohenjo-daro, did not have written records, so much of what is known about its leadership and religious practices it is speculative. The priest king might have been a priest, a king, or a ruler with a religious role, but not definitive evidence to confirm this is lacking. This statue is one of the most iconic artifacts from Mohenjo-daro and is currently housed in the National Museum in Karachi, Pakistan. So now let's moving on to the Indian art. Indian art, particularly from the perspective of the Hinduism and the Buddhism. It is rich and diverse, reflecting the deep spiritual, cultural, and philosophical traditions of the India. These two religions have significantly shaped India's artistic heritage, resulting in a wide range of art forms from the sculpture and painting to architecture and textiles. So these are the Hindu arts. The following we have the sculpture. It is to depict the details like Shiva, Vishnu, and Durga. These are the goddess with the intricate details and iconography. We have the architecture. It is the temples like Kailasa at Ellora. It is to showcase the complex designs with the carving of gods and mythological stories. We have next the painting under the Hinduism. It is the features the themes from the epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, seen in the Ajanta cave murals. Another, we have the symbolism. It is uses symbols like the lotus or the purity and elephants or the wisdom to convey the spiritual meaning. So those are that I mentioned is under the Hinduism arts. Of course, after the Hinduism art, let's moving on to the Buddhism art. So these are the sculpture. Early Buddhist art is used to symbols of the Buddha, later depicting him in the human form, such as in the Gandhara and Mathura schools. Another for the architecture, we have the stupas like the Sanchi house, relics of the Buddha and serve as spiritual centers. For the painting, Ajanta murals illustrate the Jataka tales and the Buddha's life. For the mandalas, we have the geometric patterns it representing the universe used in the meditation. So, both Hinduism and Buddhism religions influence art across the Asia, blending spiritually with the visual expression. So now let's moving on to the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is a world famous white marble mausoleum located in Agra, India. It was commissioned by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in 1632 in the memory of his beloved wife. Mumtaz Mahal, who died during the childbirth, the Taj Mahal is widely regarded as a symbol of love and it is known for its stunning architecture, intricate carvings, and beautiful landscape gardens. So now let's talk about Agra. So what is Agra? Agra is a city in the northern part of the India in the state of the Uttar Pradesh. It is historically significant because it was the capital of the Mughal Empire from 1526 to 1658. Apart from the Taj Mahal, Agra is also home to other notable Mughal architectural marvels, including the Agra Fort and the Farapur Sikri. Another we have the India. India is a vast country in South Asia known for its rich history, diverse culture, and architectural wonders. The Taj Mahal is one of the most the iconic landmark and a UNESCO. So when it's UNESCO, it is the United Nations of Educational Science Cultural Organization on a World Heritage Site attracting millions of the visitor each year. So the Taj Mahal is often considered one of the new seven wonders of the world and is a major cultural and historical symbol of the India.
So, pleasant day, students. I am Teacher Hazel and I am the second reporter for this group. So, for my topic, I will be discussing about Buddhist art and basically its philosophies as well, and East Asian calligraphy. So, without further ado, let's get the learning going. So, starting off, we have Buddhist art. So Buddhist art originated in the Indian subcontinent after the life of Gautama Buddha from 6th to 5th century BCE or before Christ era. It evolved through cultural interactions and spread across Asia and eventually the whole world. As Buddhism spread, Buddhist art adapted to local cultures and took new forms. So there are basically two major branches of Buddhist art that were developed. First, we have the northern branch, which is through Central Asia into Eastern Asia, and the southern branch, which is into Southeast Asia. So in India, Buddhist art flourished and even influenced Hindu art. Though Buddhism began to decline in India around the 10th century, partially or partly due to the spread of Islam and the resurgence of Hinduism. So moving on, we have Siddhartha Gautama, who was born around the 6th century BCE or the before Christ era in Lumbini, or in the present day we call it Nepal. He was basically a prince of the Shakya clan raised in luxury. He left royal life in search of truth and an end to suffering. He achieved enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. He also became known as the Buddha or the Enlightened One in English. He also taught the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. He also founded Buddhism, which is a major world religion, especially in India. And he died around the age of 80 years old, achieving parinirvana, or as what we call the final nirvana. So when we talk about nirvana, this is basically a key concept in Buddhism that refers to the ultimate state of liberation and freedom from suffering. So it is the end of the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, or samsara, and the complete extinction of desire, attachment, and ignorance. Next up, we have the Great Stupa at Sanchi. So this was built during the Mauryan period under Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BCE, located in Madhya Pradesh, India. So this serves as a Buddhist shrine or stupa, which represents the burial mound and is symbolic of cosmic order and enlightenment. So this mound-shaped structure is faced with dressed stone, which represents the dome of heaven. So there are 3 umbrellas or chatras at the top that symbolize the following: Buddha, Buddha's law or dharma, and monastic community or sangha. Railing at the crest surrounds a symbolic sacred tree and umbrellas, which indicates a spiritual enclosure. So it also contains a circular walkway or pradakshina patha around the drum for circumambulation or ritual walking meditation in a cosmic circle. So the structure also features four richly decorated toranas or gateways at the cardinal points. So these depict the life stories of the Buddha, Jataka tales, and the symbolic representation, like for example the empty throne or footprints. So the Buddha is not shown in human form, but symbolically through icons and high relief carvings. The overall design is based on a sacred mandala or spiritual geometric diagram, which signifies order and harmony. So this structure is a prime example of early Buddhist architecture and Indian narrative relief sculpture. Moving on, we have the Buddhist philosophy. So this Buddhist philosophy has rich cultural iconography. So first we have the lion, which is a symbol of the Buddha's royalty. We have the wheel, which represents the Buddha's law. We have also the lotus, which is a symbol of the Buddha's pure nature, which grows in swamps, but mud slides off its surface. And the columns are surrounded by a wheel, which is Buddha's teaching. And lastly, we have the empty throne, which is the Buddha, a reminder of Buddha's presence. So moving on, we have the final topic, which is East Asian calligraphy. So calligraphy is a highly respected art form in East Asian cultures using Chinese characters. So this calligraphy is practiced in countries which include China, where it originated from, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam historically. So calligraphy is not only an art form but also influential in ink and wash painting, using similar tools and brush techniques. The East Asian calligraphic tradition originated in China, which focuses on ink and brush writing. So there is a standardization of various calligraphic styles across the countries of East Asia. Calligraphy has also influenced the development of other traditional East Asian arts, including seal carving, ornate paperweights, and lastly, inkstones. So as you can see here in the image being shown, it is an example of East Asian calligraphy using Chinese characters or letters. So this is the Chinese method of holding a brush for calligraphy. So how the brush is held depends on which calligraphic genre is being practiced while doing the said calligraphy. And lastly, we have the tools that are being used for calligraphy. So ink, the paper, ink, brush, and inkstone are essential implements of East Asian calligraphy. So they are basically known together as the four treasures of the study in China and as the four friends of the study in Korea. So in addition to these four tools that are being utilized in calligraphy, desk pads and paperweights are also used by calligraphers in order to put the paper down without it moving around. So the picture being shown here basically showcases the tools that are being used for calligraphy purposes in East Asian calligraphy. So that basically sums up my topic for Buddhist art, philosophies, and East Asian calligraphy. So that will be all, and thank you.
Everyone, I am Roger J.R. Caliago Custudio and the last discussant for our report on Asian art history. Before I begin, I would like to thank Hazel Ann A. Romero for the insightful discussion earlier. And now, let's proceed to my assigned topic, the Chinese art. So Chinese art and its origin, Chinese art, has a history that spans more than 4,000 years. It's developed through different dynasties and was influenced by philosophers, religious leaders, and political figures. It includes fine arts, folk arts, and performance arts are all created either in China or by Chinese artists. So next is calligraphy. So when we say calligraphy or the art of writing was considered the highest form of visual arts in traditional China. Artists used brush and ink, and the practices was officially recognized as a fine art during the Song Dynasty, where form or aims and techniques were closely valued. And so next is the Bronze Age art. The Bronze Age in China began around 2000 BC. Chinese bronzes were created using a unique process called piece mold casting, different from the lost wax method used elsewhere. Next is paper cutting. Chinese paper cutting originated in the 1st century AD. People used paper cutouts to decorate windows, homes, clothes, and even the women's hairstyle. This folk art remains a colorful and symbolic part of Chinese culture. Next is the pottery and ceramics. From the Neolithic period, the Chinese produced pottery and with distinct designs. During Ming Dynasty, Chinese ceramics gained international fame through sea trading, becoming a major export admired around the world. Next is influence of natures in religions. Chinese art is deeply rooted in religion and nature. Whether paintings, mountains, rivers, or mythological beings, Chinese artists often express their connection with the natural world and spiritual beliefs. Next is the geography and civilization. In ancient Chinese civilization developed along major rivers like Yellow, Yangtze, and Sai rivers, which provide water, trade routes, and fertile land. In a contrast, places like the Gobi Desert were not ideal for settlement due to the harsh condition and lack of water and trade routes. Next is the beliefs and philosophies. Early Chinese society practiced polytheism, worshipping many gods, spirits of natures, and the ancestors. Over time, they embraced powerful philosophies and the religions such as first is the Buddhism, introduced from India, teaching that desire must be overcome to reach enlightenment or the nirvana through the Four Nobles of Truth and Eightfold Paths. Next is the Taoism or Taoism. Founded by Zhao Zi in the 16th century BC, it teaches harmony with nature through the balance of yin and yang, darkness and light. The last is the Confucianism. Founded by Confucius during the Zhou dynasty, it emphasizes moral conduct or order in facial piety or the respect of parents and elders. Next is the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China was built during the rules of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. It took about 3,000 soldiers and 50,000 common people to construct these massive defense structures, which remains a powerful symbol of China's strength and history. Next, we have the Japanese art. Moving forward to the Japanese art, it spans from the 10th millennium BC to the present. So, Japanese artists have produced works in poetry, sculptures, ink, and painting, and more. One of the most iconic traditions is the origami, the delicate and creative art of folding paper. The last one is the Korean art and the choreo of cultures. So Korean art is known of its rich use of bold colors, natural forms, and surface designs. During Koryo period, Korea became famous for celadon pottery or a beautiful green glazed ceramic. So scholars wrote elegant poetry and documented the first written history of Korea, while artisans carved thousands of Buddhist sculptures onto wooden blocks, one of the most greatest religious art collections in Asia. In conclusion, East Asian art, whether from China, Japan, or Korea, is more than just a beauty of display. It tells stories of cultures, beliefs, and resilience. Each artwork, whether a ceramic vase or a calligraphy scroll, is a reflection of its people's identity and heritage. So thank you so much for listening. Once again, I am Roger J.R. Caliago Custodio together with my co-reporter, Ms. Eliza B. Taxom and Hazel Ann A. Romero.